Greetings everybody, and thank you for joining me at Warhammer Neophyte. The purpose of this site is to chronicle the exploration and journey of myself as I jump headlong into the world of Warhammer, something that I've never done, don't know anything about, so happily oblivious to all of the details that are required. So this is going to be a bit of a learning curve, and just bringing everyone along for the journey to see what it's like. I've never made a video before, certainly haven't used the video function on the SLR camera that I've got, so that's going to be new, so hopefully this doesn't look too atrocious and we can sort of piece together hopefully something coherent without the cat screaming in the background. That is something worthwhile watching and entertaining at the same time. Now, history-wise, way back in my pre-teen years, used to play with plastic model kits, and would put them together and paint them up with enamel paints, and that was about the extent of it. Did that for a few years, didn't go any further, and so we've sort of crashed and burned with that. Looking back on some of the things, I've still got all of that ferreted away. Looking at the brushes, it's a bit of a nightmare. Wondering what the hell I did with them and how I managed to paint anything when you think about it. And the best I could do with miniatures was little 1 to 72nd scale little army guys, which we'd stick on sticky tape and paint up their faces and their feet and various others in a few different colours and do a generally sloppy job of it, not using any form of magnification. So yeah, they look a bit crap. So yeah, this is going to be a bit of a daunting task, so hopefully we can do a better job. We'll be using some magnification this time round, courtesy of many years of deterioration of eyesight, and let's hope the hands are steady enough to make this a worthwhile exercise, because we're committing a little bit to see how we can go with this process. One thing that I noticed when looking at all the YouTube videos was that the majority of the channels had years and years of experience with Warhammer and terrain building, model construction, that sort of thing, and obviously I'm coming from a point of zero, so it's a little bit different, a perspective perhaps, and it may or may not be educational and entertaining in that respect. It could be a total train wreck, so we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But the other thing also is that many people generally got into this hobby, I'd say, when they were a lot younger, perhaps in their school years, and that's well behind me now, so perhaps I've got another point of view, and it'll be curious to see if any others might be considering adopting a new hobby later in life and seeing how they get on with it. So let's look at the first box set we have got, and that's the Warhammer 40,000 Start Here Recruit Edition. Now apparently it's designed to be perfect for new players who've never tried Warhammer 40,000 before. And it's an ideal way to dip your toes into the thrilling worlds of battle, so they say. So just looking at the back, there's a bit of a blurb giving us a bit of a rundown, a bit of an introduction as to how it all happened, how it went down, and the contents of the box. With this starter set we have the Space Marines and the Necrons. And according to the details, there are 20 miniatures in this requiring assembly. There are a couple of special characters. You have one Royal Warden, who is apparently a Necron, and you have one Primaris Lieutenant, who is part of the Space Marines. And then there are 10 Sundry Necron Warriors and 3 Canoptic Scarab Swarms, and 5 Assault Intercessors on the Space Marine side. So if we open up the box, we can see there's a box in a box, and there's a few bits and pieces scattered over there. To start with, there appears to be a set of 10 six-sided dice, which is fantastic, and then a bunch of plain bases. And then we can see all the grey sprue, which contains clearly model components that we need to assemble. And having a close look, we can see they're nicely detailed. This one here has Space Marine on the top there with arms and legs like he's been ripped asunder, and on the bottom section we have what would appear to be some components of a Necron. So they are quite nicely detailed, but my god, they are small. When you watch all your videos online, you were not aware of just how microscopic these suckers are and the need to use the Hubble Space Telescope just to view them. But that is something that we will have to try and adapt to. Here we have a bunch of legs, looks like a pile of one-legged men, and lots of guns, torsos, and various other heads. So yes, this could be entertaining, putting who's who in the zoo. The last sprue that we have coming up looks mostly Necron-esque, lots of skinny little guys, so they look a bit anemic, may need to eat some more food, a few weapons here and there, so looks like we've got some choices. Perhaps, I don't know if we'll use all the parts. I know in some of the kits you do have options. Okay, what else do we get? We have a manual, so that will give us the instructions on how to perhaps piece things together, so we will have a look at that in due course, hopefully get an idea of how to assemble and also how to play the game. Underneath that we can see a bag with what looks like a double-sided sheet, so we'll have a look and see what's in there. This might be what they refer to as the gaming mat, so we'll open it up and have a bit of a look. So we've got some orange looking ground with some printing on it that might represent machinery, and it appears to be double-sided. Okay, and in here we have another side which is dark grey, appears to have letters on it which perhaps are objective markers, looking at how the game is played. So we've got some sort of wasteland and one mechanical section, so two options to play with there. Okay, what's at the bottom of the box? We have a Space Marine transfer sheet. So we have a few little decals that we can apply to our models, which are even more microscopic again. And there also appears to be a couple of clear rulers that we can use, obviously, to measure out movement on the board when we're playing the game. So they'll come in handy. Everyone seems to use tapes though. And then lucky last we have what looks like a little flyer. It's got some Space Marines on one side, and on the back it's got some information. Okay, seems to be promotional material for a new series. Terrific. So that is what we get in the box. Okay, and now box 2, because if you're going to be a bear you might as well be a grizzly, so get the big sucker. Obviously this one here is designed to give you a better start into the game. It comes with terrain, it comes with more models, you also get the rules and a bit more information in there, so that it was the plan. Start with this one and use the smaller one as additional models to build up your army. Okay, this one here has 27 push fit plastic miniatures according to the back of the box. Okay, we get a few more Space Marines this time. We get the guys on the bikes, and we get a Primaris Captain this time round. And as for Necrons, we get another 10, we get an Overlord, we get some more Canoptic Scarabs and some Scorptech Destroyers. So they're the guys with the big blades, they're going to lop your head off. We also get the command manual apparently, so that's going to be quite useful to give us some background information on all these models and hopefully understand what we're physically doing with everything. It does say there is a gaming board as opposed to that sheet, and that should be interesting to look at. We also have the terrain, which is the reason why it's a bit more interesting to play with this one. So what we'll do is we'll jump inside and see what is presented. So it's a bit of an exercise here. Another box in a box with a lot of screaming pictures. And once we take it out, we see that there appears to be some terrain here. So we've got some detailed, what looks like pipework and other cylinder type structures, which clearly make part of that assembly process. And we'll probably start painting those first rather than the miniatures, a bit larger, get a bit of practice. So it's a good opportunity to do that as we proceed. So we'll rip these little guys out and have a bit of a look and see what we've got. So there is quite a bit of detail on those. They mostly look like the pipes. And we've got the larger structures here, which again, quite a lot of detail, quite heavy too. Funny enough, a fair bit of plastic in those. Underneath we have a few more sprues, and this one here seems to have the bikes. So these will be our outriders. And we've got a smaller section here which has a unique base, so maybe that's one of our special characters that we have to assemble. We've got some Necrons. I see some blades there, look like giant ice skates, so that's probably going to be those Scorp-Tech destroyers. Lots of body parts, and this one here, lots of guns, so Necrons, so probably similar to the last one. And then at the base we have what looks like parts of a building, so more of the terrain, quite heavy, detailed, double-sided, so quite attractive, well put together. So that should be interesting to assemble and see what it looks like once it's all painted up. Looks rather imposing, which is quite nice. And then underneath that we just have a card, looks like just a sheet. I don't know what the purpose of it is. Lift that up and see what's hiding underneath. And underneath there we've got some bits and pieces, but that just appears to be a separating sheet. So in there we've got dice again, same number of dice, looks like 10. Same colour white, rather boring. Some packaged basic bases, and a few larger oval ones, and some discrete circular ones which are a bugger to pick up apparently. So that's why you stick your model on them. Okay, so that should be entertaining to work with once we've got everything going. Now we do have a couple of books here wrapped in plastic. One of them I can see says the rules, so that's always useful, so we know what we're doing once we finally get everything assembled and painted. And then behind that, if we give it a bit of a shuffle, that is the command manual. And if we flick that over, we can see that it gives us a bit of detail on some of the units. So that's going to be some useful reading. Okay, underneath there is the gaming board this time, so it's not a sheet. It's all plastic wrapped, but it looks quite hard and heavy. So that looks quite nice though. Probably the same size as the sheet. Underneath that we have more decals, and this one here, it looks like it's primarily for the Space Marines. Got different factions it looks like on there, so we've got some choices perhaps, again with the clear rulers. So whether we end up using those or not, or adopting the tape measures, time will tell, but they look quite nice. And again with the promotional material at the bottom of the box. So that is what we can see there. So that gives us a fair bit of work. It's going to take a little bit of time to assemble these, but we're going to go on that little journey, hopefully together. So we'll see what we can do with that. But before we start, we're going to need some equipment. So this is my workplace of preference. It is the shed out the back. And we just have a generic workbench which will do for the purpose. We've got ourselves a cutting board to protect that wonderful bench top, and obviously if it's a cutting board we need to cut, and therefore we've got ourselves a hobby knife, this one with a rubber grip so it's a bit more comfortable to use, and also some cutters to take the models off the sprue, because clearly scissors or pliers don't really do the job. We've also got several pairs of brushes or sets of brushes that we'll require, and there are both the sable brushes and the synthetics for different purposes. The sable ones here go down to quite a nice point for detailing. They will be for applying our acrylic paints, and then we've got the cheaper version, which are the synthetics, which can be used for more rudimentary tasks, dry brushing perhaps. Don't have to be so careful with the materials. So that's what we've generically got. Now they've suggested that getting a wet palette is good for acrylics to maintain the integrity of the paint so it doesn't dry out too quickly. So we did some research and found that these guys here, Redgrass, make some quite good wet palettes based on some of the sites that I've been on. So we managed to secure one of the Gen 1 palettes because the Gen 2 wasn't quite available apparently. This one comes with 50 sheets of paper to place on top of the saturating sponge. We seem to have one there in a bag, and then we have the wet palette itself with the impossible to get into rubber strap securing it, and a little bit of force opens it up, and there's a rubber seal, and inside another mat, which obviously needs to be wet to function. So that's that. Now we're going to need some adhesives, and so go for the classical Tamiya thick and extra thin options, and the good old Revell Professional with the long pointy applicator. We decided to splash out and get a Citadel model holder, so clasp the bases, but looking at how many people do it, they don't use them and they don't all assemble them or paint them on the base. So we'll see if that gets any use. We got ourselves some styler ends by Badger as a primer. We've got the black, we have the white, and we got the grey. So we'll give that a red hot go. And lastly, we decided to jump in on board with the Army Painter and get the Mega Set. So the Mega Set comes with a large range of triad paint groupings, and hopefully that will give us plenty to play with. We can see the instructions on the back. There's 50 plain, 9 metallics, 1 green fluoro, and together it makes 16 color triads. And obviously there's a bit of info there with regards to doing your base, your mids and your highs for painting the model. So we'll try, there's many methods that I've seen, but this looks quite interesting. So it gives you a little bit of information there, which is terrific. Hopefully they do the job. They seem to get a good review. So we'll certainly try these out to start with, and as you can see it does say that it's perfect consistency for airbrushing, which is the next progression in this process. So inside we've got some documentation just with regards to, yes, it's nice to paint your models, and that's the whole idea. And then we've got some basic instructions on read before use, how to at least shake the bottle, because that's obviously complicated, and how to keep your brushes clean. And on the back we have a list of the full range of apparently 134 color options. Whether we'll ever need those is anyone's guess. It looks like there's about 10 reds. Okay, and then we have a bit of information with regards to how these triads work. So it shows the groupings, and then we can see on the back a bit of a description as to the highlight, the mid-tone and the base, and apparently a link to go see an airbrushing tutorial. So hopefully we will be endeavouring to do that, so that will be part of this process coming forth. Looking inside, we have a jumbled mess. It would appear that the box was perhaps delivered by Ace Ventura, and everything is in disarray, but fortunately nothing is broken. So we have what looks like 6 trays, so they're all grouped obviously, and we'll need to somehow keep them put together at some point to make them easier to find and use. So that's our paints. Okay, that just about does it for this episode. Thanks everyone for tuning in. It's been quite an exercise and a learning curve here, both in terms of actually generating a video and also coming to grips with Warhammer and everything else. There will be plenty more to come, I can assure you. We still have to assemble some models, paint them, play some games, generate and create terrain, try and work out some rules. That'd be useful. Clearly one thing I wasn't aware of is the just perpetual iterations of the game and rule changes as they go. We're at 9th gen and they keep bringing out new variations and updates and codices and everything else. So hopefully we can at least come to grips with some of it and get some gaming going on, and clearly you guys can maybe give us some guidance there along the way. Surely there's plenty out there with a lot more knowledge than myself. So yeah, looking forward to that. So till next time, thanks for watching and see you again.